World is on fire. I mean, literally, some of it is on fire. California right now going through the worst fire devastation in the history of the state. Fires are in LA. LA is burning down. So first thing I want to start top of the show with shout outs and prayers and love for everybody in California going through what they're going through. It's absolutely bananas at this point. We're going to get into that. We have also awkward funeral yesterday. The president, Jimmy Carter's funeral. We have all the living presidents and vice presidents and such and first wives, first ladies, all in attendance for that funeral. And oh my God, did that produce some moments. Kamala in particular is having a very bad week when it comes to awkward moments, but we'll get into that. And then also I want to, as I have committed to do here, I want to make sure I talk about the Robert Brooks case because still nothing has been done. And it's interesting that a few voices or one voice in particular has decided it might be worth discussing. So she did a little thing on it on her show. We'll get into that next Time to Talk podcast. Let's do it. Thank you for joining me first. I want to say that it's Friday. This I don't know if you guys, let me know in the comments, but everybody around me and a lot of people I've heard are sick and just having this ongoing, I don't know if it's flu, what it is. I normally get a cold once a year or something. It kind of goes away in a couple of days and that's the end of it. I'm done. I've had this thing and I just got better. Maybe a couple of days ago, I felt like it was all going away. The cough was gone, but yet there's a lingering thing in I don't know. Might have to go to the doctor for it, but I just sharing that because if you hear me kind of whatever with my voice, I figured I'd let you guys know that's what's happening. So let me first start with the Robert Brooks, because to me, that's the most important thing. It takes priority as far as I'm concerned. Why it's not taking priority for other people, I'm not really sure. Now, Brianna Joy Gray, though, however, Bad Faith Podcast, my black sister with her own platform now after leaving or being fired from whatever it was from her previous gig. She said she's out there doing her thing and she's speaking on the relevant topics, and doing all the things, the trending things, the most impactful things that are happening, just like my brother Mark Lamont Hill with Night School and talking about all the relevant things like Drake and sports scandals at Fox News and all of these things, right? And Gaza situation, which obviously the Gaza situation is something we should continue to talk about and put in the forefront of our minds as well. We should discuss these things. But somehow, my brothers and sisters, the Robert Brooks case, which, let me update you, still nothing, no arrest, no charges filed against any one of these animals, barbarians who beat a man to death. I'm going to I really want to attempt to not say black man. And that's not from a position of trying to minimize the fact that he's a brother and he's a black man and we have this ongoing problem in our country. We've had it since we've been dragged here in chains and well afterwards. I don't want to minimize the fact that 13, 14 animal white people beat a black man to death. My intention is to say, even if we cut race out of it, aren't we all human beings? We're not all human beings, right? We should be looking at this and examining this as, wow, did you guys see that? We just watched 14 correction officers beat and kill a man. He could have been white. He could have been whatever race you want to pick, whatever religion you want to pick. He could have been a Jewish man, okay, wearing a yarmulke. It could have been a Muslim man, okay? It could have been an African man, could have been an Asian man, could have been whatever race, religion, creed, could have been a tatted up kind of rock and roll dude, could have been anything, could have been a radical. Well, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference what type of criminal he was or whether or not he was a good guy or a bad guy or whether he deserved it or didn't deserve it, because as we know, you don't deserve that. There is no death penalty. He's serving his time for what he did, and the man was killed. So let's leave it at a human being was brutally beaten on camera, and for some reason, this is not making enough news. No one seems to care. No one seems to want to make this a point on their programming, on their shows, with all their hundreds of thousands of followers and their live streams and all of their talk. Brianna Joy Gray decided on the Bad Faith podcast that she would have two attorneys on and discuss criminal justice reform, and some of the issues revolving around the prison system and some of these topics. And she treated it as a cavalier sort of conversation that could have come up in any situation, right? She treated it as if it was just, it's Thursday, let's talk about something, and here's something. And that begs the question, and that's what fires me up about all of this. And that's what I hope my listeners, and I hope eventually other people hear, is that how is it possible that your particular career, your choice, and what you do is speaking out on current topics, trending things, whether it's politics, domestically or abroad, international politics, all these different things, human rights events, all these different things that are happening. You discuss them regularly. You look for content. You write notes. You do what I do. See what's trending, what's happening, what's relevant. Let's talk about these subjects. Let's try to get views. People are out there making money. Let's do a live stream. Let's talk about it. Let's get comments. You're picking topics. If for the last few weeks, since December, I believe it was 27th, since that video was released, if somehow it's taking you this long to get to the Robert Brooks story, then a couple of things are happening. One, you're either nowhere near as informed as you pretend to be when you do your shows, which I don't think that's the case. I think it's option two. You knew this was happening. You saw it take place, and yet you decided that it wasn't relevant enough or important enough for you to discuss or highlight or put on the forefront of your live streams or make an emergency. Everyone has emergency podcast. Night school. We're going to talk about the important things with Mark Lamont Hill, Brianna Joy Gray, Bad Faith, Candace Owens. Candace Owens, I almost expect not to discuss, but at the same point, going back to the fact that it's a human being that was beat, how the hell is it that she can talk about Meghan Markle's, the trailer for the new Meghan Markle show? She seems to be relevant and tapped into every single thing taking place in media, taking place in the country, taking place in the world, and she's got an opinion on everything. And as I've said time and time again, she's a highly intelligent black woman. Yet this woman has not said a single word about Robert Brooks. The idea that you could be someone that's outraged over every little thing and you could talk about everything, and I'm calling her out specifically in this moment because she was the one who called out LeBron James and used the same logic, right? The logic was LeBron James makes his voice heard for every little single thing, like everything. And he tweets about it, and he makes a stance about it. He takes a stance, and he, espouses his wisdom and his take on subjects that are relevant to people, especially our black people, right? And she called him out for the fact that he got suddenly silent when it came to the Diddy case. And that was her whole shtick, her entire thing for several videos, calling him out on X and on her podcast was, why so silent now? How could you not be speaking about this? Everyone's talking about it. How are you not talking about it? So I asked Candace Owens, it's not even a black thing, my sister. You don't have to raise the flag for your blackness. You don't have to prove to anyone that you're black or not black or trying to be black. You don't have to do anything. Stay white as you are inside, okay? But how is it that you're ignoring the case that 13 officers beat a man to death? How could you not? How does that not make your show? The same thing with Mark Lamont Hill. Same thing with all of you. I know I'm saying the same names, but I think it's because I keep seeing them. And one of the things that makes it so infuriating is that I respect these people in terms of their platform and what they've accomplished, and the fact that they are leaders in a space. They do have the voice. So you kind of look at it like, wow, the people you would think who do have an audience, who do have that platform, who have the ability to raise concern, who have the ability to tackle this issue, they're doing nothing. So what are we doing? Leaving it up to people like me with 4,000 followers and barely any kind of interaction with people? I'm going to keep pushing on, and I'm going to keep pushing their buttons, and I'm going to attempt to get them to talk to me about this so they can explain, hey, brother, listen, we understand. Like, let's discuss why we haven't touched this. Is there something I don't know, something I'm not seeing? Maybe you could teach me something. Maybe I should be learning something. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe it's not as serious as I think it is. Maybe everyone's moved on. Maybe the days of being upset by, black people being mistreated in America or human beings being mistreated in America, it's okay. We're just over it. We're more concerned with the wildfires or more concerned with Kamala Harris and Biden and Trump and what's going on and whatever. Anyway, that's enough on the Robert Brooks case. The only thing I can tell you is that apparently the only update that's come through the last time I checked, which was right before I started this episode, is that 4 more of the officers have been suspended. Oh, well, thank God. Without pay. Oh, well, oh, that's great to know. No charges, no arrest. These men are still out there. And it seems as if it's not really going to go anywhere. I just, again, I'm so baffled by this. So I asked my listeners, I asked my audience, forgive me if I seem to ramble about the Robert Brooks case, or I seem to be not letting this go, but I'm sorry. Do you think I should let it go? Would you let it go? It shouldn't be let go. It shouldn't, and that's the point. Let's move on. Let's get to the fires in LA. Okay, so empty fire hydrants, lack of access to water, no real preventative measures taken by state officials, including Governor Gavin Newsom. And this is stuff that Trump even talked about on his podcast, on the podcast with Joe Rogan. He discussed the fact that he had been there and seen the way there should be certain brush and forest cleaned up and certain things, preventative normal measures that would be taken, which would prevent a lot of these fires from spreading or even starting in the first place. And then how do we deal with them? Like as far as the water coming down from Canada and how do we deal with all that? He discusses it at length with Joe Rogan. This is the guy who we all consider a total moron, right? And people don't like him, but listening to that conversation, you're like, okay, even he had a grasp on this. So how the hell Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass of LA, this is a woman who wasn't even here. She went to Ghana and then she comes back. And when the reporters are questioning her, she says nothing, not a word. I have never seen anything like it in my life. I'm not going to play it here. I'm not going to go through it. You may have already seen it. If you haven't, look up Karen Bass with reporters when she comes back from Ghana. And she doesn't say a word, not even a moment of, some sort of like an answer that would be political or something just to keep it safe. And, I'm working right now. I just returned. I'm looking to find the details on this. Governor Newsom is working with me. We shall be having a meeting later. My heart goes out to those who have been displaced. We are looking to provide something. She didn't say a word. She stayed silent. Fire this chick. I call her a chick. I don't care if it sounds disrespectful. She's a chick. She's nothing. Fire her. She probably got her job. How did she get her job? Oh, she's black and she's a woman. She's probably a lesbian too. Well, she's not. But the fire chief is. I think the fire chief is a woman, lesbian. Well, a DEI hire who is training women firefighters in LA to fight fires. Yes. Hooray. That's what we should be proud of. Clearly, none of this is working. None of it worked. And it's a damn shame because all the people losing their homes, I can't even imagine what that feels like. I just can't. I feel really, really bad. And it's always that much more terrible when you realize that these things could have been prevented. On top of the fact that, let's not even get into the conspiracy side of this, but the idea that there are many people saying that a lot of this is intentional. A lot of this is intentional, just like situation in Hawaii. A lot of these things are being orchestrated. What if the motives behind them and what's really going on, what politics are driving this, what the true meaning of it all. Like I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to get into that, perhaps on another show. And once I've done some investigating on it and try to like really connect the dots, then we can talk about it. But the fact that that's even floating out there is kind of spooky. It's kind of spooky. Anyway, LA, I don't want to sound trite in my, thoughts and prayers, but honestly, you can't watch that and not just feel like, wow. Any complaint you might have right now, just think about what's going on with these people. Think about what's happening in California, and let's just, keep prayers up. Let's move on to the Carter funeral. My God, if there's a bit of humor and some lightness in today's episode, let's talk about the Jimmy Carter funeral. Whoo, the level of awkward. So Kamala already had to deal with earlier in the week the whole the Republican senator, I forgot her name, whatever it was, but the husband who snubbed her and didn't shake her hand. That awkward moment where she puts her hand out and then she's like, oh, okay. And she smiled. Like, it was so, I felt bad for her. I wanted to give her a hug in that moment. And I have no love for the woman whatsoever as a politician, which brings me to another small point. I had a bunch of comments on TikTok, a bunch of people who just outright, when I talked about this and I said I felt bad about Kamala Harris, a bunch of people who outright commented, forget her, she doesn't deserve respect, she doesn't deserve a handshake, she deserves nothing. They said some heinous, like really bad stuff in bad taste. And I just want to reiterate, no matter what I think of a politician, whatever my thoughts are at the time, no matter how much I went in on Harris and the whole Biden administration and what they've done, the Democrats, and her attempt to sell herself as this wonderful politician. The fact that I pointed out she can't speak and she was totally unqualified for the job, that does not mean that as a woman, a politician, a human being, that she doesn't deserve a particular level of respect and that we should wish her ill or that she doesn't deserve a handshake. This guy, not to mention, the second part of my rant on this is that a lot of people were pointing out that he had a cane, so that's why he didn't shake her hand. I call bullshit on that because of the fact that he didn't even look at her. It wasn't just like an awkward moment where like I'm holding a cane, but okay, let me try to shake with the other hand or something. He outright dismissed her with such a level of like she was like a dog. Like he didn't even look at her. He didn't smile. He didn't fake it for a second. He did nothing. So this whole idea that he had a cane is bullshit. Anyway, so Kamala gets through that. And then we've got the Carter funeral. Let's take a look. I want to look at one thing in particular, like one moment during this, which I found hysterical. Watch Trump and Obama. Look. Oh, she is livid. Livid. Let's just cut it. I just wanted to see that one part. There's so many other moments in this, like the fact that George W. Bush shows up and smacks Obama in the chest, like, "What's up, dude? Quick, what up, bro?" Like, he is, and that's who he is. I mean, that's who he's been. He's always been the beer drinking, kind of like that son of HW. Like, that's just the way he acts. But that's a Texan that just keeps it real. He walked up to Obama and just tapped him. And then later on, you could see him with one of the former, I don't think it was Gore, it was whatever his name was, but he's got his funeral program and he's like smacking a guy with it. Like, he is just casually just being himself. He could care less. But everybody else, my God, Melania Trump gets the award of the century for just being this stoic, straight. She looks like a cat with an attitude, right? Leave me, don't bother me, don't say a word to me, don't even look at me. She keeps it real. That's who she is. And she had a blank expression for everybody. No one got a pass. There wasn't even a slight smirk for one person, but not that person. Maybe this person gets something and that one doesn't. No, she kept it real with everybody. Like, don't even look at me. Don't attempt to shake my hand. Don't even bother. Like, she had that wall up, and I'm sure, again, people were just like, yeah, I'm not going to say hello to her. You know, I better not even look her direction. The thing with Kamala, this is what I just showed, the Obama and Trump thing. First of all, it just shows, for those of you who've not been paying attention, and what I've been telling you all along since I started this channel, is they're all part of the same team. They're all just puppets. Everyone in that room were once or currently puppets for the deep state and for the real people who run the country, the real people who run the world, right, and run our government. These are all puppets, or all figureheads. They all have their hand in doing whatever. They've all been used and manipulated to orchestrate certain things that are in the interest of the deep state, and that's what these people represent. So when you see them out fighting, you see Obama out campaigning for Harris and calling Trump a dictator and saying it's the end of democracy and he should be locked up and practically or killed because they were pretty much supportive of any kind of assassination attempt against him, right? When you see all that playing out during the election cycle, that's all just garbage. It's all nonsense. It's all just play fight. It's like a wrestling match. It's literally WWE is what you're watching. Because for Obama and Trump to be chilling now, like, you would think those would be the two who are totally in separate sides of the room and totally not even looking at each other. There they sit right there, chumming it up, laughing it up at a funeral. Meanwhile, Kamala's sitting in the front. Kamala literally looks like that female who was chilling with the boys like a week before, and she thought the boys had her back, and then she kind of got with the boys and they used her, and then she thought she was going to be with the in crowd, or she thought somehow by doing things or getting with them in some way, maybe she would be accepted, and now she's cool with that person. And in this moment, she realizes that she's not, that she's been used, and the dude behind her is the one that used her, or she tried. It's just, it looks so bad. I know she just can't wait to return to civilian life and just be done. I don't even think she'll come back. I mean, if she does, kudos to her. It's a brave woman, because she's endured a lot. And honestly, I don't think she can come back. I really don't. I think she should just chill out and just relax and don't stress herself out. That's the thoughts I give to her. Anyway, so that was a funeral. That was, that's the latest thing. Again, the Robert Brooks thing for me is the most important. It really is. Justice for Robert Brooks. Please share, like this if you get a chance. If you've not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you being here. Definitely like the video on the way out. Don't if you get a chance. Like the video on the way out. Comment, let me know your thoughts on this, and I'll see you on next Time to Talk podcast. Peace.